what the purpose is, right? We don't want to just filter out our image, but even though that's the same, just we're a question of terminology. But basically, we want to detect features. All right, in this layer, we're going to, or in this feature map, we've detected where certain features are in the image. In this feature map, we've detected where certain other features are, where a certain specific feature is located. In this feature map, we've detected where a certain other feature is located on the image. So you load a photo into it, and then you can actually start a convolution matrix and apply filters. And you will see that these convolution matrices are actually applied in image processing and design and so on. So let's have a look at what we get. So if we apply this filter, 5 in the middle, -1, -1, -1, -1, you can see that it sharpens the image. And so it's quite intuitive if you think of it. So 5 is the pixel, the main pixel, like in the middle of the filter or the feature detector. And then -1, -1, -1 just kind of like reduces the pixels around it in an intuitive sense. Then blur. So basically it takes gives equal significance to all of the pixels around the one in the center, and therefore it combines them together and you get a blur. Edge enhance. So here you can see that -1 and 1, and then you get zeros, right? So you remove the pixels around the main one in the middle, and you only keep this one at a -1, and it gives you an edge enhance. This one's a bit harder to understand how it works. Like probably harder just to think of it intuitively. Edge detect. Right, so this one probably makes more sense, right? You take the middle one, you reduce the middle one, probably like the strength of the middle pixel, and then you look for the ones these ones. You increase the strength of the ones around them, so you have the ones there. So that gives you like an edge detection, and you can see what you get there. Emboss. Another one. So the key here is that it's asymmetrical, and you can see the image becomes asymmetrical as well. So you got like that kind of feeling that it's standing out towards you, and that's what you get when you have like minuses here and pluses here. Again, this is getting a bit technical now, but at least we can get some kind of intuitive understanding. Let's just go quickly through them again. So there's
So here to detect the specific feature from the image, we have different kernels or different filters. So whenever you multiply this input image with this kernel matrix, we will get different features from the image. So by combining all the features, if we process all the features at a time, we can easily detect the object. That is the concept behind convolutional neural networks. So to apply this convolutional neural networks, initially we need to perform this convolutional operation. The purpose of this convolution operation is initially we need to detect the best features. After detecting these features, we need to apply pooling layer. So we will discuss regarding pooling in this session. So now I will play the small video and I will explain you the intuition behind pooling.
Hello and welcome back to the course on deep learning. On the different part of which but for now we're just applying max pooling. So we take a box of 2.
So here coming to the pooling, so simple. So I forwarded the videos already in your group. Go through those videos if you want to understand. So if you want to see the videos very slowly, whereas here I'm explaining the main intuition of all the steps. So coming to this max pooling step. So here we have different kinds of poolings. We have sum pooling, we have average pooling, we have minimum pooling, as well as maximum pooling. So as I already told you, pooling means downsampling. We are removing the specific portion and we are capturing the very good information having pixels only. Downsampling is nothing but we are removing few pixels. The purpose of the performing downsampling is, so here whenever you working on detecting a specific image, so on such cases, whenever you run that program, it needs to give output in little bit faster manner. To get output in faster manner, so let us assume here we have these many pixels. How many pixels we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cross 5 matrix. Here we have 5 cross 5 matrix. That means here we have 25 pixel. So for detecting one feature, we have 25 pixel. Like that, if you want to define, so if you want to take 32 features, so here 32 into 25, which is nothing but approximately 1600 pixels, or not only 1600, so not 1600 pixels, approximately it is 850 pixels. Let us assume if it is an 850 pixels in this entire thing, if we might have 850 pixels. To process all these pixels, it will take more time. To avoid that problem, so here I am taking the pixels which are having maximum amount of information by applying this max pooling layer. Max pooling layer, nothing but, so here we have striding window size. So if you did some NPTEL courses, if you listen about this deep learning concept, there he specified window size. So say max pooling with this two means, so here from the 2 cross 2 matrix, we are taking one feature. From the 2 cross 2 matrix, we are taking one feature. It means, so out of these 4 features, we are taking the feature which is having maximum information. So here, if you observe this data, here one is the maximum information having pixel. Out of this 4 pixel, I am taking one pixel. Next time, I want to switch to 4 digits. That is nothing but I want to take one 2 cross 2 matrix. Again, from this, I want to take maximum information having pixel. So like that, I am reducing the size of feature map. To detect one specific feature, we need to consider these many features. So here, to process this entire information, if you consider this entire feature map, it will take more processing time. To avoid that problem, here by applying max pooling, here I'm reducing this matrix size
by 2 pixels like that, and again, it's minimum value in that box. Then you move your button, you can select, so there are overlapping boxes, you can select maximum. Here, if you maximum is 2, here the maximum is 1, 0, 1, 0, 2,
so
and then
it is a pooled feature map. So here it is about one feature. Like that, we need to apply same maximum pooling on each and every feature. Remember one thing here, feature is nothing but specific part. So coming to the human body, one feature is nothing but eye. One feature might be, it is a nose, it might be lips, it might be teeth, whatever the feature you consider. So for each and every part, we need to recognize each and every part. So each and every part will be a feature map only. So here I'm performing feature map. After that feature map, we need to reduce the size of that feature map to increase the processing speed. So here I am capturing the pixel which is having maximum information. We can perform 1 cross 1 striding. We can take window size as 2 cross 2. So we can apply 3 cross 3 striding also. 3 cross 3 striding is nothing but, so here out of 3 cross, so we need to take 3 cross 3 matrix. But taking 3 cross 3 matrix, whatever the pixel which is having maximum information, we need to keep that pixel here. Whereas to make you understand here, I consider stride size as 2. So here striding window size as I consider as 2.
so as you can see, you can and be in this pool, and where we go, that is.
So here it is nothing but pooling layer. So whenever you want to increase the processing speed, so here I am reducing the number of features. So if you won't do this max pooling, here it will take more processing time, as well as it will go for underfitting problem. So what that is about pooling. After performing pooling, we will get all the feature maps. After getting all these feature maps, we need to flatten all these features.
Hello and welcome back to the course on deep learning. I hope you're tracking along with simple pooled layer, pooled feature map, and that is after we apply the convolution operation to our image, and then we apply pooling to the result of the convolution or to the convolved image. And so what are we going to do with this pooled feature map? Well, we're going to take it and we're going to flatten it into a column. So basically just.
So finally, we need to apply all these features on artificial neural networks. So whenever you want to apply all these features to the artificial neural networks, we need to have all these neurons information in a single row. So for that purpose, we need to perform this flattening step. We need to convert all these pixel values in a single column. So for that purpose, here I am applying flattening function. So whenever you apply flatten,
take the numbers row by row and put them into this one long column. And the reason for that is because we want to later input this into an artificial neural network for further processing. So this is what it looks like when you have many pooling layers, or you have the pooling layers with many pooled feature maps, and then you flatten them. So you put them into this one long column sequentially, one after the other, and you get one huge vector of inputs for an artificial.
Till flattening, this comes under convolutional neural networks. After that, we need to proceed whatever the thing we did in ANN, we need to proceed in similar fashion only. So here remaining portion will be similar to ANN only. So before applying all these features to the ANN, initially we need to perform convolution and max pooling. After performing max pooling, we need to perform flattening. After flattening, we need to apply our entire data to the artificial neural network only.
Artificial neural network. And so to sum all of this up, we've got an input image, we apply a convolution layer, and let's not forget the ReLU, or rectified linear units function that we apply after the convolution layer as well. And then we apply pooling, and then we flatten everything into a long vector, which will be our input layer for an artificial neural network. And exactly how that works, we'll find out in the next tutorial. Hope you enjoyed today's session.
So here, what I am saying, here initially we are taking input image. After that, we are performing convolutional operation. By applying convolution operation, we detected a lot of features from the image. After detecting the features, we are reducing these feature maps, and after reducing the pixels from these feature maps, here it is a pooled layer. After getting this pooled layer, we are flattening all those neurons. After that, we are taking all these neurons as an input to our artificial neural networks. So here it is the entire process of convolutional neural networks. So here we will see the summary of this thing.
Hello and welcome back to the course on deep learning. So we've learned quite a lot in this section of the course. Let's summarize what we've talked about. All right, so here we go. We started with an input image to which we applied multiple different feature detectors, or also called filters, to create these feature maps. And this comprises our convolutional layer. Then on top of that convolutional layer, we applied the ReLU, or rectified linear unit, to remove any linearity or increase nonlinearity in our images. Then we applied a pooling layer to our convolutional layer. So from every single feature map, we created a pooled feature map. And basically the pooling layer has lots of advantages. The main purpose of the pooling layer is to make sure that we have spatial invariance in our images. So basically, if something tilts or twists or is a bit different to the ideal scenario, then we can still pick up that feature. Plus, pooling significantly reduces the size of our images, and also pooling helps with avoiding any kind of overfitting of our data or of our model to the data, because it just simply gets rid of a lot of that data. But at the same time, pooling preserves the main features that we're after, just because the way it's structured, and the pooling we used was max pooling. Then we flattened all of the pooled images into one long vector or column of all of these values, and we input that into an artificial neural network, and that was step 3, flattening. And step 4 is the fully connected artificial neural network, where all of these features are processed through the network, and then we have this final layer, final fully connected layer, which performs the voting towards the classes that we're after. And then all of this is trained through a forward propagation and back propagation process, and lots of iterations and epochs. And in the end, we have a very well defined neural network. And another important thing is not only the weights are trained in the artificial neural network part, but also the feature detectors are trained and adjusted in that same gradient descent process, and that allows us to come up with the best feature maps. And in the end, we get a fully trained convolutional neural network which can recognize images and classify them. So there we go. That's how convolutional neural networks work. And now you should be totally comfortable with this concept and ready to proceed to the practical applications. If you'd like to do some additional reading, then there's a great blog by Edith Deshpande from 2016. You can see the link over there at the bottom. So the blog is called The 9 Deep Learning Papers You Need to Know About Understanding.
Sorry. So here it is not only the very good research paper. We have a lot of research paper based on this convolutional neural networks, which is written by Jan Lee Kun. So here he might be pronounced as a father of convolutional neural networks. So here, whenever you want to work, sorry, if you want to learn briefly about this convolutional neural networks, they search CNN by Jan Lee Kun. So you will get a lot of PDFs, a lot of chapters regarding CNN. So here it is the theory behind convolutional neural networks. I will explain you the program or project corresponding to this convolutional neural network. So here I'm taking one simple project. So here in this project, here I took cat images as well as dog images. And finally, I want to give one image and I want to detect whether that image belongs to cat or dog. So here, that is my problem statement. So here I'm keeping, I will show you the images. So here in the deep learning folder, we have convolutional neural networks. Here I kept a dataset folder. In the dataset folder, for the training set, I kept a different folder. In the training set, I kept cats images. So initially, I kept a lot of cats images. So here, I kept a lot of different kinds of cats images. So here, after keeping cats images like that, I kept dogs images folder also. So here, we have different kinds of cats images as well as dogs images for the training. So for the training, I kept a training set folder. For the testing, I kept a test set folder. So for the testing, I kept a test set folder. In the test set also, I have different kinds of cats images as well as I have different kinds of dogs images also. So here it is about test set of cats and dogs. So I kept different folders for training and testing set. So after that, for the predicting output also, for the single prediction, I kept a single prediction folder. So whenever I want to give this image to the machine, it needs to predict like a dog. Whenever I want to give input like this cat image, it needs to give output like a cat. So here it is my problem statement. That is, I want to predict whether the given images belongs to cat or dog. So for that purpose, here I did a project. So yeah, here convolutional neural networks. Initially, what we need to do? So here we need to import TensorFlow. Initially, whenever you want to work on the deep learning, we need to import TensorFlow. Initially, I am importing TensorFlow. After importing this TensorFlow, here I imported image data generator. So here the purpose of this image data generator module, so which is present in the Keras. So from the Keras preprocessing module, on the images, we need to capture all the pixels of the image. So for that purpose, we have image data generator object. So here, if you want to understand regarding this image data generator, you need to know about image augmentation. We need to know about image augmentation. Search about this image augmentation in the Google, you will get to know the clear content regarding that thing. But as coming to simple perspective, the coming to this image augmentation, so it is meant to get best accuracy to detect any image. To detect any image, if you want to process the image in very accurate manner, we are performing this image augmentation. The purpose of this image augmentation is, let us assume if you want to train a machine by using simple image, let us assume I want to detect my face only. So I want to give one folder to detect my image. So for that, if I give one input image to train the machine, so here what it needs to consider, it needs to convert that entire image in the form of specific standard dimension. So let us assume it will be converted that image in the form of 256 cross 256 pixel. After performing that thing, to predict the outcome accurately, we need to perform, so machine can perform image augmentation. Image augmentation is nothing but it needs to flip my image, it needs to it needs to rotate my image, it needs to change my image orientation. So like that, it will create lot of dummy images based on my original image. It will create lot of dummy images. So in future, whatever the image you give, based on by processing all those dummy images, it will predict the image output accurately. To predict the output accurately, we need to perform image augmentation. So for that purpose, to perform image augmentation, we need to use image data generator class. We need to use image data generator class. So here we need to run this portion. Still it is running. So to get the output, it takes approximately 30 minutes of time. Why means we need to process approximately 2000 images. To process 2000 images, approximately it will take 10 to 20 minutes of time. So based on your CPE, it will depend. So if you are working on GPU, then it will predict the outcome in very faster manner. So here for my problem, it will predict like a dog. So here I gave one image. So here it is a specified one image. Yeah, we will come point by point. So here now I won't execute this thing. To execute this portion, it will take approximately 10 minutes of time. So here I executed this program. So 50 minutes back. So I executed 50 minutes back. Now it gave output to me. So here the purpose of this image data generator is to perform image augmentation step. So here we are specifying the few features. So here, what are the things you want to perform? Horizontal flip. I want to flip my image in horizontal flipping, and I want to change the head vertically as well as horizontally image to point to difference. So where the both the side at the top as well as at the bottom, I want to shift point to distance. And after that, I want to capture the different images. And after that, what we need to do? So here we are preprocessing both the training data as well as test data. So here we need to apply this image data generator object on the files which are presented this specific location. So I want to apply all these features on these files. So here in this working directory, what we have in the dataset folder, we have training set folder. In the training set, we need to consider each and every image with the size of 64 cross 64 and batch size equals to 32. That means every time I want to consider 32 batch of images. That means we need to consider 32 images. And here our classification problem is binary classification problem. So here our problem is binary classification problem. So here we performed image augmentation on the training data. After that, we need to perform image augmentation on the test data also. So here I'm performing image augmentation on the test data, and I am specifying the test data path. So here from the working directory, I am specifying the image data generator path as well as test size. After that, so here, while after performing image augmentation, we need to enter into the CNN operation, convolution operations. So here, while entering into this convolution operation, initially what we need to do? We need to initialize the sequential model. From the Keras, we need to initialize the sequential. Whenever you want to build artificial neural network, or it might be ANN, or it might be recurrent neural network, we need to use sequential object only. So here, it is a method which is used to initialize any model. So after that, here, initially, we need to specify the convolution layer. From the Keras, we have layers. On that, we need to use convolutional two-dimensional layer. So here, convolutional two-dimensional layer. So after taking this convolutional two-dimensional layer, for the image, from the image, I want to apply 32 filters. So here, applying 32 filters are nothing but we are capturing 32 features from each and every image. From each and every image, we need to capture 32 features. So to capture 32 features, here I am applying 32 as a filter size. So here filters equals to 32 means we are capturing 32 filters. That means we are performing convolution operation with the input image 32 times with the 32 different filters. After that, we are specifying the kernel size. What is the purpose of this kernel size? So here filter size. Kernel size is nothing but filter size. The filter size here I am specifying like 3. So here I am taking filter size as a 3 cross 3 matrix. After that, as I already told you, to avoid the information lossage, that is nothing but to avoid the vanishing gradient descent problem at the hidden layer, always we need to use ReLU as an activation function. After that, we need to specify the input image size. we need to specify input image size. So here I am specifying input image size. So what is the size of input image I am specifying? So if you are using TensorFlow at the backend, here it is the syntax to specify the input image. So here initially we need to specify height, width, and next we need to specify the number of channels. Whereas at the backend, if you use the Theano, the syntax will be different. So here, if you use Theano at the backend in place of TensorFlow, here we need to specify like 3, 64, 64. So here in the Theano, initially we need to specify the number of channels. After that, we need to specify the input image size. Whereas coming to TensorFlow, initially we need to specify the image size, and next we need to specify the number of channel. So here we are taking 64 class 64 image, and we are taking colored image. 3 channels is nothing but we are taking colored image. So what we need to do after performing convolution operation, we need to perform max pooling. So here we need to capture maximum information having pixel. So here how to perform this thing? So here I want to perform pool size as 2. I want to perform downsampling with a stride of 2 cross 2 size. That means out of 4 pixels, I want to select 1 pixel. That is nothing but out of 2 cross 2 matrix, I want to select 1 pixel. Like that, we need to capture different pixel values. We need to capture different pixel values. So here we specify the stride size also. Stride size is nothing but number of steps. So here with how much distance you want to move. So here that is nothing but stride size. So here in the pooling layer, we are specifying the size of the pooling as well as stride size. So after that, to get the best accuracy, I am applying one more convolution layer. Based on your requirement, you can apply any number of convolution layers. Whereas coming to my problem, I am applying one more convolution layer. So whenever you want to apply the convolution layer, here again we need to apply convolutional 2D. So for this convolutional 2-dimensional layer, input will be this maximum pooled value. So here whatever the feature you got from this max pooling layer, that will be works as an input to this convolution layer. So here I am applying these features to this convolution layer. Again I want to capture 32 features. Here again I want to perform convolution operation per 32 times on the input image which we obtained from this max pooling layer. Again for the hidden layer we need to apply ReLU activation function. Again I am performing pooling layer. So whenever you apply pooling layer again after performing convolution, the image size will be further reduced. The image size will be further reduced. So after performing pooling, what we need to do? So first layer is convolution. After that pooling. After pooling, we need to flatten each and every feature. So here I am performing flatten. So whenever you apply the flatten, this entire 2-dimensional array will be converted in the form of single dimension or single column. So after getting this thing, what we need to do? We need to apply this data as an input to our artificial neural network. We need to apply this data to our artificial neural network. So here I am specifying units as 128. That means I have 128 inputs to the artificial neural networks. Again, we have hidden layers in the artificial neural networks. So for that purpose, here I am using activation function as in ReLU activation function. So after applying this ReLU activation function, directly I want to add one more layer. Whenever you want to add any layer in the artificial neural network, we need to use dense function. Whenever you want to add any hidden layer or you want to add any output layer, we need to use dense function. In the dense function, we need to specify the output size. Output size is nothing but hidden layer size. After that, we need to specify activation function. So here I want to add output layer next. So output. So here our problem is a categorical problem. That is a binary classification problem. Here I am specifying output unit or output unit as only one. So here for this output unit, it is a binary classification problem. Then I suggested you already in the binary classification problem, sigmoid is a suggestible one. Sigmoid is a suggestible activation function. So here I used the sigmoid activation function. After applying that thing, we need to compile our model. We need to compile our model. So here I'm compiling our model. So to compile this model, we need to converge to the global minima. So here we need to reduce the cost function. That is nothing but we need to move to the global minima. To move towards global minima, we have different approaches. Out of all the approaches, we are considering minimum batch stochastic gradient descent and with the different learning rate. For each and every hidden layer, we are considering different learning rates. That is nothing but ADAM optimizer. ADAM optimizer is nothing but ADAGRAD mini batch gradient descent approach. Here I am applying this optimizer. After that, we are using the binary classification. So we are working on binary classification problem. So that's why here I'm specifying binary cross entropy function. Finally, here I'm considering metrics as an accuracy. So here I want to consider accuracy as a parameter. So after that, we need to fit our entire training data. So here we store that entire training data directly into training set folder and validation data to check the performance of the data based on the test set. So here in the fit method, I am specifying training data as well as test data. And to get the accurate result, we need to specify the number of iterations to update the weights to get the best accuracy. Here I am considering number of iterations as 25. So here with the different batches, I want to iterate through all the images to update the different weights. Here I'm taking 25 iterations. So it will iterate 25 times by taking 250 images for each and every epoch. So for each and every epoch, it is taking 250 images. So after iterating through this, it will calculate the optimum weights. After calculating optimum weights, so here we are predicting the outcome for the test set image. So here we are uploading the image from the test set. So here I uploaded the image of dog one. So here I already shown you the different images, dog one image, as well as I shown you cat image also. So if you upload this thing, here it is giving like it is a dog image. So here I specified the different part. You can easily understand this thing. Initially, I am pre-processing this image. After that, after taking that image, I am converting that image size in the form of standard size, that is 64 x 64 size. After that, I want to capture the pixel values from that image. So for that purpose, I want to convert those all pixels in the form of array. So after converting that pixels in the form of arrays, we need to convert all these features in the form of single flattened layer. So here we specified test image. Here I specified axis equals to 0. After performing all these operations on the image, finally we need to predict the outcome of that image. So here we are specifying the test image here. After that, we need to specify the test image number. So here, as I already told you, while starting at the deep learning concepts itself, it won't detect the object name. It will detect the category number. So here, coming to this example, we are saying if it is the 0, if it detects category as 0, that is nothing but dog image. If it detects category as 1, that will be cat image. So here, sorry, reverse I said, 0 of 0 is nothing but image number. If result is 0 of 0, so it will detect the input as 0 if it is true. One is nothing but true. If it detects like 0, it is a dog. If it detects like 1, it is a cat. That is the condition I specified there. And finally, I am observing the prediction. So if you observe the prediction, it will predict like a dog. It is about convolutional neural network. So here, previously in the previous project, I generated H5 file, right? So if you generate H5 file here, it will be helpful to you. Same thing, whatever the thing we did previously, copy paste same lines. So after the basic prediction of ANN, copy the same lines here and save H5 file corresponding to this CNN. And whenever you want to use this CNN project, you can write that H5 file. If you directly run that H5 file, it will directly predict the outcome. So this is about convolutional neural networks. Coming to the next class, that is nothing but in tomorrow's class, we will discuss OpenCV concept, that is computer vision package. So in the tomorrow's class, we will discuss regarding computer vision package. So after that, if you are interested, I will take one more class on Thursday, but that is not a necessary class. So on that class, I will explain you few additional contents corresponding to the machine learning. So what is the principal component analysis? What is linear discriminant analysis? After that, we have few more parameters. What is k-fold class validation? Such kind of extra parameters I will explain you in the additional session class. That might be Monday's class or Friday's class. And now start work on projects. So if you won't get anything from the project, if you won't understand anything, feel free to message me at any time. I will respond to you. Or else, so from the Monday onwards, I will take a project session to explain the projects or to evaluate the projects. I will contact you daily. I will take sessions to 10 members. So for the 10 members, I will explain the projects. If they explain me, that will be good. If they won't understand their project completely, I will explain you their projects. Don't worry about that thing. So thank you. With this, I am concluding for today.